All right, good morning, everybody. I'll be with you in just a moment here, and we'll get to all the weather. Appreciate you joining. Just give a couple more moments, and we will get right to all the crazy weather that's going on. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, everybody, we're going to get to the weather right now. And as you can see with the current radar loop, we do show that there's really not a whole lot going on in the southern plains at this time, but things are starting to develop down into central part of Oklahoma. Welcome to the broadcast. I do want to thank our wonderful sponsors, our commercial, residential, and remodel general contractors, prairieprosd.com. You can check them out today. Request a quote and make sure that you tell them 605 Chaser sent you. And also, we do have our other sponsors. It is Mission Nutrition, Refuel Nutrition, as well as Fit Revolution Nutrition. If you need anything related to getting back on track with regards to your weight loss journey and just a healthy, active lifestyle, check them out today. Those are located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Uh, get my document up here and it should be able to start looping. There we go. There's their hours of operation as well as their address. At Fit Revolution, you can check with CJ Haley or Caleb. There are a number of other coaches there as well. Refuel Nutrition has Jody is the primary one, and then Mission Nutrition, that is primarily Sarah and Jeremy. All right, thanks to our sponsors. Appreciate them supporting us in the weather updates. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what this is. Significant severe weather threat. This is down in Oklahoma area, as well as parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and even into north central part of Texas, or far northeastern part of Texas, rather. And this is for the tornado activity. So this is a pretty significant graphic to show you significant level of severity that's expected. Rather than taking a look at our current radar loops, because there really isn't a whole lot of, there's some general showers. Let's go ahead and take a look at our HRRR weather model to see what's expected to happen there. We'll get to areas of South Dakota for our viewers very shortly. Just be patient as we, you know, primarily focus on this area right now because this is the area of biggest concern for severe weather. And there may be people that are going down to areas of Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma that we want to make sure that they're safe travels there. So this is a look at 8 a.m. Central Time. And as we go through the loop here, you'll be able to see that we'll run into some issues with regards to images not being available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the 7 a.m. update just to give you a better perspective of how this day might play out with regards to the severe weather down in southern plains. As you can see, by the afternoon, we do have a significant line of storms. Let's go ahead and move the risks off here so we can see that a little bit better. As you can see, pretty significant line of storms right along here, Oklahoma City, and moving to an easterly direction over into the later part of the afternoon. And eventually it makes its way over to Fayetteville, Springfield, Missouri. Pretty significant impacts all the way down to Waco and Killeen, Austin area. Let's go ahead and put on the general categorical severe outlook so that you can see the big picture of how large this system is. It's got general thunderstorms all the way up into areas of Michigan, Wisconsin, and even some marginally severe risk all the way down into San Antonio, Houston area. So a big swath of severe weather expected throughout the day today. And as you can see, there's even possibility of some storms here, but these are generally going to be just general thunderstorms. They're not going to be anything severe up in the Omaha area for tomorrow. Just basically your garden variety showers, kind of more of a nuisance. And let's go ahead and take a look at day two so you kind of can see that as well from a SPC standpoint. There it is. The marginal risk is up in Wisconsin area, and then general thunderstorms there. They don't even have this area of Omaha marked, so not anything significant. But we will have those showers that are there in Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas area, and Texas push off to the east, and that's going to wreak havoc for things with regards to the tropics. As you can see, the red zone here, we do have area of concern for the tropics. So let's go ahead and bring that up into our viewer here. So as you can see, we do have a lot of, this is an infrared showing you the warm temperatures, infrared satellite loop showing you the temperatures that are out into that area of the Yucatan Peninsula. You can barely see it over here. So let's go ahead and choose the region here. There we go. So that's where it is right over here. It's hard to see it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the larger loop of it for the United States. This is another look at the overall picture, infrared satellite loop, showing those storms trying to get fired up, but having a little bit of a trouble. And we'll show you as to why we believe that might be. But before we go back to the States, let's take a look at the Caribbean. Over the next couple of weeks, we do see a greater than 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation probabilities. November 6th through the 12th, there it is. You can certainly see. And then November 13th through the 19th, greater than 20% as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the track of this potential tropical cyclone 18. Well, it pretty much is going to develop into that. And it's clear down into south of Cuba, southwest of Cuba yet. Uh, and right now, though, it is just a tropical storm, and this is as of 7 a.m. Monday, and that is Eastern Standard Time. And then we will have areas of Jamaica that are impacted, and eventually this will make hurricane development, they're predicting, at 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Once it gets up into the areas of past the Yucatan Peninsula and more into the Gulf region, we're expecting things to kind of die out. And the reason we're expecting them to kind of die out at that point and go into a tropical storm versus a large hurricane is because we're expecting a dip down of cooler air, a pool of cooler air to tip pretty far south that will cause a significant put a damper on that hurricane development. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're really talking about. If we look at the European model, we can see there's that dip of cooler air, and it will certainly wreak havoc on our temperatures. And November 5th at 7 a.m., this is we're looking at, I apologize, 6 a.m. And you can see that cold air pushing through areas of the plains and even over into Colorado low. You call that Colorado low, but what ends up happening by the end of this week is we end up getting this to close off. You see where these oranges are, it really close off that Colorado low, or that low pressure there and makes it really just die out. Eventually, it pushes its way, but it's not as potent as it once was. So that's why we don't believe there's going to be a whole lot of weather makers for areas of South Dakota, because that around this time of the year, this is typically where we end up seeing some of those Colorado lows come through, and we get those major winter storms. Speaking of winter, I do want to remind folks that we are going to have our annual predictions, and that will be on November 10th. So, less than a week away, we're going to have our snowfall predictions for the plains, basically South Dakota. I cover Rapid City, Lead, Pierre, Aberdeen, Sioux Falls, Sioux City, those areas. We've done this for a number of years, just kind of to break up the somewhat boring forecast every once in a while here as we try to predict how much snow are we going to end up having for the season. And been pretty good, if I can say so myself. Not too bad. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Is the La Nina going to have an impact on us? And as you know, some of you, that La Nina is not always the exact same for every single one. I know some folks over in some of our local weather stations have already done their predictions, and they say that we're going to have lower moisture than normal, but I'm not really sold on that. Speaking of moisture, let's go ahead and show you the excessive rainfall forecast interactive through the Weather Prediction Center. We've got day one. Here is the slight risk, as you can see, over areas of Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. And then as far as winter weather goes, there's Pacific Northwest does have significant chances of seeing a lot of snow. We even have that into Montana for tomorrow. And then Colorado will end up seeing significant impacts for their. Let's go to the interactive weather map here so you can kind of see where that is. There, we'll go back to this. And then we do see the significant winter storms in Colorado, Montana, as well as parts of the Pacific Northwest. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the overall look again from the Storm Prediction Center for today's convective outlook. We do have that enhanced risk, in other words, a 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5 for the slight risk, and then the tornado, that's a hatched area that is pretty much all of eastern Oklahoma. And then there is that 5% risk further up into Missouri area. And then the wind threat is really significant with 30%. Hail is not so much of a factor. These are going to be wind and tornado threats primarily. And here is a reminder of our drought, where we stand with that. Certainly, the rain that Southern Plains has gotten over the last 48 hours is certainly, or 24 hours, is certainly going to assist with reducing the drought. Unfortunately, areas of western South Dakota, you're going to have to wait until next weekend to have a little bit of a reprieve or a little bit of help with that drought and bring that moisture back. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the 7-day forecast. Um, Here it is, folks. 7-day forecast for Sioux Falls area. It's 55 for a high today. Nice mild temperatures. I call it mild because it isn't what we seasonally see. This is above average. We typically will see 30s and 40s maybe at best for highs around this time. And so we do see our overnight lows basically our highs. And then as we get into the later part of the week, we do end up seeing some more rain chances coming Friday into Saturday. Let's go ahead and take a peek at that. Uh, with the radar Omega, we'll take a look at that. All right, let's go ahead and shut off these graphics here. I will bring up our GFS and European model here. First, I want to show you a European model. As you can see, the temperature is certainly cooler air right there, staying where it typically does around this time of the season, but certainly some warmth around the 9th. And as this warmth comes up, clashing with this cooler air over in Colorado area, that's where we believe that we could have some possibilities of some precip. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 500 millibar wind to see how big of a dip this jet stream ends up taking. I'll have to zoom out to see the bigger picture here. So right here, if I can focus in on areas of Omaha, right here is where we expect a low pressure to be, and that'll probably be where we end up having our possibility of some rain. Let's take a look on the oh, we'll have to take a quick peek at our GFS. So that's on the 10th, midnight. We get back to the 10th here. Have to wait for that to update here. All right, so this is where we expect to have better chances of our moisture into next weekend. Um, so if you have any outdoor activities planned, do plan ahead because this is probably our best chance of seeing some moisture in and around the Sioux Falls area, much of Iowa. Um, Now, as far as snow goes, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at that. We're going to bring up the winter radar with GFS here so that we can kind of have an estimated loop as to how that might end up playing out. All right, we have the GFS showing those storms down in Kansas area. And then we do have western parts of South Dakota on the 5th, seeing a little bit in the higher elevations of some snow. Nothing really huge. If we take a look at the DBZ here, we would be able to see 38 DBZ, really light dusting at best there. Nothing real heavy. It isn't until later in the week we start to see a more significant amount of moisture. And there's that moisture over in the areas of Sioux Falls. So this again will be some light rain, not anything huge, but any amount at this point is better than nothing. As we go further into the next parts of next week and into the weekend, we can see that rain comes through again. Areas of Sioux Falls. Now we're going to go a little farther out here just for um, forecasting perspectives and give you one scenario. This is just one weather model, so just don't take this as absolute. It's just to give you an idea of what one weather model is showing. As you can see, GFS does show some snowfall over into areas of Idaho, and that's kind of where our other system that we're concerned about into the later part or the third week of November. There's the possibility of some snow. I do believe because of the timing of everything, we're probably going to see this one really shape up to be a pretty big snow impact for areas of western South Dakota. So if you have any plans for that time frame, which would be the start of the following week, or the middle of next week, I should say, you'd want to plan ahead. Areas over by Brookings and Sisseton area, Watertown does have that possibility of some snow, but really I think the temperatures at the surface are going to be so warm that it's going to be difficult for it to amount to any type of snow. It'll be at best probably just a light dusting, a trace, enough to make the ground wet enough and um, wreak havoc on some of your driving. All right, so that's as far out as that goes. Really not much there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this hurricane thing. All right, so what they are expecting is hurricane category 1 expected by 6 a.m. on the 6th. So in the next couple of days, that's where it's expected to be over by Havana, the Cuba area. And then it'll enter into more of the Gulf between that Yucatan Peninsula, Cancun area. Eventually, it'll get up to on the 8th. Um, it would still end up being a Category 1, but that uncertainty right now, how much stronger it'll go. I don't believe it's going to get any higher than a 1. Um, and then once it gets to closer to the land, I believe that cool air is really going to cause it to die out, if you will. It certainly is going to be a rainmaker and a weather maker, but it's not going to be as significant as our other um, storms, tropical storms that developed over into the Caribbean and the Gulf have been this year. Just look at the weather makers we have all over the place. We have development out here. Now, this is one that I would be a little bit more concerned about for tropical development, even though it says only 20% chance. I do believe that this is going to be in an environment that's much warmer than the area here. And if this ends up really forming over the next 7 days, this would be the one that would be a concern for areas of Florida. So you definitely want to be um, looking out for that. If any of you are in Florida, certainly, even though it shows overall chance is low, I'm not sold on that. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the overall long wave IR here. Apologize. Let's look at the upper level water vapor so you can kind of see where all that moisture is. So the blue is the cold, the green is the moisture, or I should say blue is cold and dry. And then the moisture, of course, is the green. And this is just a satellite loop over the last half hour, looks like, roughly. So really, you can see where the moisture is areas of Oklahoma, Kansas, and then we do have this system out into the Pacific Northwest. And that is going to really wreak havoc for areas on that coastline. One more last look at our 7-day forecast. Again, 40% chance showers, mostly cloudy on Friday and Saturday. Your day is pretty much going to be rained out. It's going to be that cold, dreary feeling for Friday and Saturday before we dry out again on Sunday. Well, I appreciate you all joining. Thanks so much. God bless you all and stay safe. I'll have another weather update here tomorrow. Um, for those that are in areas of Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, please stay safe. God bless y'all.